Hello everyone and welcome to Groovy Tech Academy. This is your host Abdul Majid Mangario, and today we are going to integrate Mulesoft with MySQL and also know about Crud functionalities like how to query, how to select, how to update, how to insert, how to delete some records. So let's get started. I've already created a project, a Mule project, MySQL demo, and this is the MySQL XML. So let's get started. First of all, we are going to need listener to invoke our service to expose like videos where I have defined like how can we create, configure and expose our services in MuleSoft. So let's get started. So here we are going to create the configurations. So by default, the port number is 8081. So we're going to leave it as default. Press OK. And then we have created the configurations. Now the path, the name of the endpoint which we are exposing, let's name it as a demo. Let's keep it simple. Okay. So here we are good with the services. We have exposed the service. Let's put a logger and which says like, welcome to Groovy Tech Academy. So we are all set right for now. So to integrate with any sort of database, we have a component database and which has some functionality like functions, operations. So we will initially go with the select operator, and that is like here, if you click on this database, you will see some operations. So we are going to mainly focus on create, delete, update, and insert. So let's just start with insertion. So over here, we are going to need the configurations. So let's create the configurations. So over here, it's asking about the connections, like what sort of connection you want. So we have some sort of categories, Oracle, Derby, over server. So we are going to go for MySQL connection. When we select the MySQL, it's asking for this dependencies. So let's configure those dependencies. So you can also add the recommended libraries if you have them in your local storage or somewhere, or you can also add Maven dependency. Click on that. So automatically it is supposed to get the Maven, and when we finish, it's going to download it. So we are good with the dependencies for MySQL. So I've already created a database in my local system. So let's try to configure it. Local host, and the port was this, and the user was root, password root, and the name of database was testing. So once we are good with this, so we can also test the connection if the configuration, the field data is correct. So in most of the cases, it's better to test the connection. Like sometimes we mistype the password or username. Such sort of things do happen. Let's wait for a while. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. Or maybe we can cancel this. We can test it. No need to test. Like I know like these are the configurations. Yup. So let's get started. It was taking some time, so that's why. Okay, so here we are good with the configurations. Now it's time for the query. So we have already selected an operation which says like select. So it's obvious like we are going for the select query. So select all, it's pretty simple. From the table name is student. That's all. So we have put this query and we have configured the configurations, which is pointing to my database, which is testing. And then we might need transformation to transform the output. So simply we can do a thing like we can simply pass the payload, whatever we are getting from the SP or database. So I think we are good with this. We have the services exposed. We made our endpoint, and the name of endpoint is demo, logger, select, and then transformation. Let's try to run it. Our API has been deployed. Let's wait for a while. Meanwhile, we can configure the postman call, postman, by which we can invoke the service. So I have already the template here. So the name of the service, like we have the port, which is 8081, the default one. And this is the service name. And currently we do not need anything in the body. Yeah, so this is deployed. Let's clear the logs. Let's try to send the request. Oh, the connection refused. Let me see. I don't think that is regarding. Let me call again. Up. It's about something with these configuration. It is not properly configured. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Localhost. I think it's good. Let's try to rerun. Let's check the logs if we are getting any error. Everything is fine till now. Yeah, the app is started. Okay. What we have here. Everything seems normal. Let's try to run it again. Yeah. So it was something related to the deployment or something. Okay. Just ignore that. So we just called a service, which is demo, and this is the output. So here we got the list of records which we have. So this was just for the testing. So I had almost 3 records: Blal, Jabbar, Abdul Majid. So this way you can select all. Also, if you want to search a particular record, you can do like select all from student, where I have just already made the query. Let's copy paste to save the time. So here, this is nothing than just a simple JSON. Like we are putting the key and the value, the data which we want. We can put, we can make it hard coded like this way, 1, 2, 3, anything, or we can also make it dynamic, like payload dot id, and this key is the same field name which we have here in our database, right? So in order to make it dynamic, select all from student where, and we are going to assign it like this way. So if you put these double colon and then the name of the key, simply you can call it a key. So this is a key. You can also put something else here. It doesn't matter, like ABC. So this is just a sort of variable you are assigning here, but this one is referring to the database entry, the field. Okay, so I think we are good here too. Let's try to deploy and test it. So this time we are not let me copy an existing payload, input payload, go to the Postman, and here we have, okay. So here we are going to pass the ID as 4 because, or we can say 2, for instance. So this is what we are passing. So in the code, it is supposed to pick that ID from the payload and bring that record. So let's try to run it. So currently on the second ID, it is Jabba. So let's try to run it. Okay, so we got the Jabba. So this is how we can dynamically fetch up a particular record, right? So folks, this was all about the select. Let's jump for update or insert. Let's go for the insert. Again, go into the database component, and here we have this operation insert. Let's try to drag it, and here we're going to use the same configuration which we have made. So this is the same configuration which can be used for these also. Again, to here it is the same thing, like we need to insert the query, and if parameter, if we are making it dynamic, we need to pass the dynamic query. So again, I have already created the query for my ease to save the time. So let's see, and sorry, I was trying to insert a record, not select, and the value. Okay, so here I put the query like insert into student. Okay, and these are the fields, and against the value, this. So again, we have this structure. It means it is referring to something dynamic which we are passing from the parameters. So here I have dynamically assigned the values like payload.id. It is fetching the values from payload name and the last name. So same thing, I'm supposed to send the values from the Postman, and that are supposed to be inserted into the database. Let's try to save it. Meanwhile, I can update the payload. Like currently we have for yes. Then we can also have name, and let's name it like John. And let's put the last name as Phillips. Let me check. Yeah, so the API is deployed. Let's try to insert the record. Send. Okay, so this is just the output of the ASP. So we have successfully inserted a new record. So we can also see in the over here in the database if the record is updated or not. Okay, on number 4, we have the ID. The name is John and Phillips. So this is how we can insert records in MySQL. So let's go further. Let's remove this. Then we can also go for update. And here we can select the same configuration. And again, I have written my query just to save the time. And that is same over here. And the inputs, they're also same. I can copy them. So this copy paste is just to save the time rather than writing it again and again. Okay, so for the update, it is again the same simple query like update student set this field, and this field, where the student ID equals to this. So it is a pretty simple. It is a simple way which we are like we used to do in our normal days. So, but this is just a way like double colon and the name of the key just to refer it to these dynamically. So here we are also passing these dynamically. Like let's try to save it and test it. Okay. So let's try to, meanwhile, let's try to update the payload. For instance, I want to update the recorded for ID and let's name it like Bill. And the last name should be Gets. Okay. Yeah, the API is deployed. Let's try to hit it again. Yep. So this is just a simple default output when we are doing update or such sort of things. So just ignore that and we can go back to database and check. Yep. On the fourth, previously we used to have John Phillips. So now we have Bill Gates, right? So this was how we updated the record in MySQL. So let's try to, so the final thing, the last but not the least, delete. Let's jump for the delete operation. And for this same configuration, we can use the same for the this component. And for the delete, simply we will write the query delete from testing.student. So this is the DB name. So you can also do this way, like DB name dot student. Student is the table name, or you can also do this way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect. It is the both ways same. And let's try to make it dynamic. Yeah. So again, the sensing, like we need to delete from student table where the ID is equal to here. So that is something which we are going to pass from Postman. So let's try to do this. Okay, so the API is updated. And for this, we do not need this payload. We only need the ID, right? The ID of the record which we want to delete. So let's try to delete this second Jabbar Khan. So if we put 2 here and let's try to execute. Okay. So we have executed the query. Let's try to check in the database. So currently we have Jabbar Khan, Bilal, Bilgate, Abdul Majid. So let's try to refresh it. Okay. So we only have now Abdul Majid, Bill, and Bilgate. So that Jabbar Khan record on the second ID is deleted. So folks, this was all. Today we learned about how to integrate MuleSoft with MySQL. So we also knew about the Crud operations. So we can also in the next tutorial we will also jump for the other other integrations, maybe the Oracle or such sort of things. So please like, subscribe, and share my channel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.